Okay, friends, we begin our story in the trophy room of Baba Yaga. This pentagonal area seems dedicated to keeping and displaying trophies in various forms. A handful of cozy stone fireplaces stand against the walls, casting warmth and illumination that seems to create more shadows than it dispels. The central floor of the room contains an elaborate yellow circular sigil representing a clock face, with a number of comfortable, posh-looking sitting chairs around it. Now, you come into the room, and you are on this balcony that's about 20 feet above the main area of the room. Animal heads are mounted on the wooden walls, including stags and boars, along with a few other exotic specimens, such as an owl bear, a hook horror, and various dragons. Twin staircases flank the walls leading up to a second balcony, holding inanimate statues of humanoid beings frozen in moments of action. So you come in, and directly to your left and right, there's these amazingly lifelike statues standing to your left and to your right. And then over the balcony, there's this massive sigil in the middle. There are a bunch of chairs. And as you're walking in, you in fact are walking into the middle of a conversation. I'm going to go ahead and make everyone who's here visible. So, as you look over, you see a, well, you know what an Eladrin, it looks like, feels like, you know what being in a room with an Eladrin is like. It's always a very unique experience. In here, you can, those of you who can see three of them. One of them is speaking sort of boisterously to a halfling in front of a large, well, something you can't really see from up there. And the Eladrin looks down at this this halfling and says, now, there we were. We were in the sky, yeah? And I thought, if this dragon can't see, then it can't fight, yeah? So I was clinging to its back, right? And the halfling goes, yeah, that's right. And so I started crawling up along its back because I had this scroll of a darkness spell. And I thought that if I could just get on the back of its neck and cast this spell, maybe it would blind it. And that's what you sort of walk into.
I think Charlotte laughs and says, "And how did that work out for you?" As she leans forward on the balcony.
The Eladrin turns around and looks up at you and says, "Oh, a fellow adventurer! Very, very nice to meet you. It worked out okay, I guess. If by okay, I mean it threw me off immediately afterwards. And I had to teleport right as I was about to hit the ground, or else I would have been a bit thinner than I am now. Welcome, come on down. We're just sharing stories of adventures and hunts."
All right. Charlotte will
and as you're
working her way down.
Yep, I've unlocked the movement. And you'll notice there are two other Eladrin, one who is pretty clearly in the autumn season and one who is pretty clearly in the winter season, who are sort of sitting there over an illusionary chessboard. Yes, I know it's called something else in Forgotten Realms, but it's a chessboard, goddammit.
It's called Dragon chess.
Okay.
It's still a chessboard.
So yes, the autumn Eladrin there and the winter Eladrin are sort of sitting there looking over a chessboard between them, and every once in a while one of them will make a gesture and it will move a piece on the board. Swoops tells you that there is another Eladrin sitting in one of the chairs reading a book, but only Charlotte gets that information because that Eladrin is currently invisible.
Yeah, so Charlotte didn't bother to hide herself or anything, but was anyone else trying to like stealth closer to that balcony up there?
No, not Maven. She's not a stealthy lady.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go down the list and everyone tell me what you're doing. Charlotte, you're moving forward and ready to start up a conversation. Calder, what are you up to?
Following Charlotte, but I'm also going to subtle cast True Sight on myself.
Okay.
Because that feels relevant. And
as the two of you are walking down, Calder, you're able to read the plaques on the statues as you go down, and one of them is a snarling, foaming male orc barbarian with a massive axe held over his hand, and the plaque reads, "Ferd Mosh, leader of the Stonefang tribe, ended by a vengeance curse." And, as you continue down, the second one is a male human garbed in black clothes and a dark cloak wielding 2 daggers. The plaque reads, "Jedard Bothamal, formerly of Assassin Mountain, took the wrong contract." Maven, you said you're not being sneaky. What are you up to?
I would be kind of following them and also looking at the statues.
There are dwarves among the humanoid statues on the second deck.
On the second deck, I might wander over to the dwarf one. The dwarf ones. So where are they? Are they on the other side?
So yeah, off sort of to the left or to the south there. There are most of these. Now I don't have a plaque for every single one, obviously, but most of them read like they are good aligned warriors, paladins, clerics, that sort of thing. That seems to be the vibe of these statues. Del, what are you doing as you enter this room?
I think Del would kind of just, take a look around. It's not like this is a passing through generally, so I think he would follow around, in the direction of Maven.
Yeah. As you make your way to the left there, you and Maven both are able to see that you are standing directly over a massive mounted green dragon head that is on the lower level, right? But it's protruding out far enough to where you can sort of lean over the banister and see that it's there, and that's what the Eladrin was gesturing to as she was telling her tale. Del, you recognize one of these statues.
Okay.
There is, next to where Maven is at, there is a statue of a human warrior, a male human warrior, who's wielding a spiked chain. And the plaque reads, "Charles Esther, mercenary, failed to save his family." Del remembers Charles. They traveled together for a time, although exactly when is difficult to say. I mean, time is weird when you're jumping from dimension to dimension, right? You mostly remember him for that spiked chain and the fact that the rest of the party initially poked fun at him for it at first. However, he used it well, and he was extremely reliable in a fight.
Del full eye rolls.
The last you'd heard of Charles, he'd left the party temporarily to attend a family matter, something about a young woman going missing. He never returned, and no search for him ever turned anything up.
I think Del, aside from seriously straight up a full body eye roll without it being a full body eye roll, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just it's visible to the people nearest by, so Maven might have caught that. But he's gonna just kind of stare at the sculpture.
We're going to assume it's a sculpture.
Meanwhile, the Eladrin has gone back into fully launched into this tale of this dragon. As you're coming down, though, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you called out and called us fellow adventurers. What brings you to the hut?
Oh, we work for the grandmother, in fact. Many of these are our doing, in fact. We are the Solstice Hunters. It's very nice to make your acquaintance. My friends don't say much, but yeah, we're the reason that many of these trophies are here to be hung up. The grandmother both sends us out after various prey, and also, if you look up at the second, as a couple of your members are doing, you'll also find those who came here specifically to kill Baba Yaga herself. And they are just cooling their heels for a little while. Yeah, the grandmother doesn't just like to kill those who come after her. She likes to freeze them at the moment of their death so that they can contemplate their failure for a very long time.
Well, Maven pulls her hand back. from about to touch which the statue closest to her.
That
Oh, don't
does
worry.
certainly sound like something she'd do.
You can touch them. It's not a problem. Like, it doesn't hurt them or anything, as far as we know.
So, solstice hunters, I'm sensing a bit of a theme, but bit of an odd person out. Gestures at the halfling, who's not a paladin.
Yes, definitely not one of ours. First off, I'm Les Linnae Heartstring. Very nice to meet you. Very nice to make your acquaintance. I know adventurers when I see them, and I would love to hear some stories of your battles and your victories and your hunts. But first, yes, this is my new friend Fel. And so standing next to this Eladrin is a very, like, tanned, like, sort of copper-skinned, ruddy-looking halfling who's wearing worn traveling clothes and listening to the Eladrin with fascination. And he'll turn and look up and say, "Oh, yes, welcome. I'm just passing through. I came in here and all these incredibly impressive trophies and the stories that I've been told so far. Eventually, of course, I'd like to make my way out of the hut. I've been having a hard time with that. But yes, my name is Fel. It's very nice to meet you."
Can I do an insight check on both of these guys?
Sounds great to me. Please do. Just one insight check. You don't have to do them individually.
Okay.
Can I offer the help then?
Yes, you can offer the help action, so that'll grant advantage on this.
Yeah, I'm Calder is trained in insight and
Okay, I'm gonna roll a thing really quick. Okay. So the Eladrin is very much like almost berserker vibes, it's very much she's very much a summer Eladrin, and she's clearly like really into these stories and genuinely wants to hear other tales of adventure. Like, she seems like the excitable sort. I will say with a 17 that Fel looks a little bit nervous, but then again, it might just be because he's 3 feet tall and he's talking to someone who's coming up on 7. For those of you who have not seen, Eladrin they're kind of a style of elf, but they're kind of more fey than elf. So they tend to be much taller. They tend to be a little bit on the willowy side, although this particular one, Les Linnae, is a little bit beefier. And they have this ability to attune to the seasons. Summer being, I believe, the season of impassioned action and like battle and that sort of thing.
So, I do want to. Charlotte wants to walk across the room and seemingly randomly pick to try to sit down in the chair she knows is occupied.
Okay, so you'll walk over here.
Yeah.
And you begin to
well,
enter.
I'd certainly love to share some tales. It sounds like we might have one in common. As she's going to sit down on the chair.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have true sight up. What's up?
Oh yeah, that's right. You have true sight up. So now that you're looking around with true sight up, yeah, she's totally about to sit on another Eladrin who is sort of curled up in the chair. So the legs aren't dangling; they're like curled up underneath her, and she's currently reading a book. And she is completely taken off guard as she is blundered into by Charlotte, and she becomes visible. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Always a new surprise in every room of this hut. No.
Yes,
Let me, and she feels around and feels the chair next to it and sits on that one.
Yes, the chair next to me. I'm so sorry. And she looks around and is suddenly startled by the fact that there are so many people in here. Apparently, she was clearly very deep into this book. Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm the one who almost sat on you.
She's gonna kind of look back to her book, and you can tell she's kind of weighing the options of either continuing to sit and read or fleeing to another place that's a little bit quieter and emptier. But for now, she remains seated and she goes back to her book.
So Charlotte takes a seat. I mean, you were saying as we came in something about climbing on the back of a dragon and trying to control it with a blindness spell.
Ah, yes. Using darkness, in fact. I thought, and get this, if I could get on the back of its neck, that I'd be able to extend the globe of darkness past its eyes so it wouldn't be able to see, and then the grandmother would be able to take her shots. But unfortunately, I didn't quite make it. Initially, and this is kind of silly of me, and I'm sorry if this is too much information, but initially I thought that it might be fun to try to get into the dragon's mouth. But I obviously dismissed that as a ludicrous idea when I could just stand on the back of the head and cast the spell. But yeah, it was... Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. I got shaken off, and I spent the rest of the fight nursing my wounds. That dragon, and she'll point back up to the head, came very close to taking control of the nexus of this hut. I think, and of course the grandmother isn't going to be really candid about this, but I think it's the closest anything has come to defeating her and taking control of the nexus in a good long while.
Hey, can I do an Arcana check about a nexus of the hut?
Sure, go ahead. This is going to be a very difficult check as a warning. A 19. I'm going to say that you are able to piece together that it's probably... There's probably a pilot's chair somewhere in the hut, right? There's probably a place where Baba Yaga can sit and control the place. And that's probably what they're talking about, but you have no idea what such a thing might look like or where it might be.
Okay. I must say, I'm a bit surprised to hear you say all of that about your fight with the dragon. Because it sounds so eerily similar to my own fight with the dragon.
You fought a dragon? Oh, this is a tale I must hear, please. And she'll go ahead and do a Gaston into one of these chairs. So she'll do that thing where she's like doing the Jarl tilt.
Mm-hmm.
She'll sit in the chair, but she absolutely cannot sit in the chair properly. And Fel will go ahead and
bisexual.
Perch up on the other one as well.
So Charlotte's going to attempt to keep these guys' attention with this conversation of exchanging tales of dragon slaying. So she's trying to pull attention, hopefully leaving the other three people to... Because you said, how many fireplaces are in this place? 4?
I see 4 fireplaces, yes. Yeah, why don't you give me either a deception or a performance check, and I'll give you advantage, because this person really wants to hear tales of valor.
They're the same for me. I mean, she is telling the truth, so let's do... Can it be persuasion to, keep listening to her?
Why don't you go ahead and tell me what it is that Charlotte says?
I think she's going to talk about how she was fighting a dragon, just like this person seemed to. They were attacking where she had been staying. She's keeping vague about the details of, the when and the where. But she is talking about how she, another dragon helped her get on its back. She crawled up. She was, initially planning to get at its mouth. And then
you jumped from dragon to dragon? That is so badass.
It was a hell of a rush at the time.
She will every once in a while interject a question oh, what kind of dragon was it, and how big was it, trying to get an idea for the age of it and that sort of thing.
Yeah, Charlotte will give as much she'll give information about the dragon. She'll say how after we couldn't tell exactly in the middle of the melee, but after the fight it was about so many feet long, and it seemed to be so many years old, and yeah, so she will talk about, I think she'll actually go into talking about how once the blindness trick worked and she wasn't immediately thrown off, that she actually managed to talk to the dragon.
Nice. Now, are you going to talk about the whole honorable death at the end, or dishonorable death at the end?
I don't know. I think she's going to stretch it out and try not to quite get there yet.
Okay, go ahead and give me that persuasion check and take that advantage, please.
Okay.
I'm going to check in with Maven and Dell in just a moment. 21. Oh, they're enthralled. Even the ones who are playing chess, like it's clear their moves are becoming a little bit slower as they're clearly like keeping an ear on your story. And let's go ahead and check in with Maven and Dell. Maven and Dell, you are still on the balcony level looking at these supposed statues. What are you up to?
Well, if I come upon one of the dwarves yet?
Yeah, I'll say that the one that you're right next to and the one that's on the corner further down the hall, I'll say those are both. One of them is a cleric of Moradin. You can tell by the holy symbol that is being proffered, and it will say. I don't have a name for this person, but I will say that it says delved too deeply and too greedily. And then there's what looks like a dwarven like prince over in the corner that you're currently approaching. This dwarf, there's something strange about this dwarf, and it takes you a second to place it. But this dwarf clearly does not come from your universe, because this dwarf has absolutely no beard. Like, not even stubble. Absolute, clean-shaven. Like, it takes you a second to place it, but this dwarf has like a not a tiara, like a circlet on his head, which is clearly a symbol of authority. But and he is holding a scepter with a stern expression on his face, and it says "failed to rule wisely." Dell, what are you up to?
I think he's still kind of just like looking at the person that he knows.
Yeah. Makes
What
sense to
do
me.
I remember of the person? Like, obviously, it's like he went off to deal with a family matter.
Yeah.
What do I know about that?
I will say that the party looked for him afterwards, and his family didn't know what happened to him. They knew that he went off in a particular direction into the forest, searching for a young woman in the family who had gone missing. And because it's a missing persons case, right? Like as you're talking to them after the fact, you find like he wasn't worried about it. He thought, this is no problem. People go missing all the time. I don't need the rest of my party for this. I'm just going to go find her, come back, no problem. And they never saw him again.
What was the name?
The guy's name was...
No, of the missing person.
Oh, of the missing person. We're going to say Abigail Esther.
I think Del will probably be standing here for a little bit before moving on.
At about this moment, Leslane begins calling for wine and ale. And out of the kitchen, where you just came, in fact, one of the ogres sticks their head out and receives the, all right, just bring me, like, a cask. I think that's enough for all of us, probably, at this point. Like, we're celebrating, we're telling stories, so we should have some booze. So the ogre, like, nods and goes back into the kitchen, and a little while later, there are drinks available for anybody who wants them. I'm going to say...
trying to check out these fireplaces, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to say...
Or just the whole room in general, you know.
Charlotte has already, like, made this entire group more positively disposed towards all of you, with your tales of valor. And in fact says, perhaps one of these days we must hunt together. Yes, I think we could bring down amazing prey together. This is wonderful. Please have a drink.
Of course. And I'm always up for new adventures, new friends. Although I don't know if our paths in life are going to head in the same direction. You hunt for what Baba Yaga wants you to hunt for, right? So
Yes, it has been a very lucrative job for all of us up to this point. Plenty of challenge, plenty of fun. The hunt is never the same twice, and that's important. It's easy for the hunt to become stale, for you to just do the same thing over and over again. But because Baba Yaga sometimes points us at beings of intelligence like dragons and occasionally humanoids, it's always a challenge.
sounds like it would be.
Variety is the spice.
Yes, and by the way, you look like a dangerous sort. I bet you have some tales as well to tell, don't you?
Many and varied.
Would you grace us with one? As a mug of ale is mage handed over to you by one of the Eladrin?
He'll take it and will. I'm just gonna get so much use out of this aspect. I'm going to subtle cast disguise self to make the mug seem less full.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it is an object you're holding now.
It is an object that I am holding now.
Yep.
And I'm going to be very, very careful as I hold it. Like he'll hold it, but he'll put like one hand under it and put the other, and like hold the glass very, very firmly. Like it looks very prim, very proper.
Charlotte takes a sip at the drink she was offered.
He will then begin with a simple story of toward the beginning of his career, talking about the adventures in the stone, the adventures in the Sunless Citadel, like how he once, like how the, specifically how they when he was very young in his adventures, and they stepped into a massive hall full of just rampantly full of goblins, and this autocratic one screaming overhead, and he'll give might and dramatis to the melodrama of the prodigal prince returning to avenge the father and all that.
Ah, goblins. It's been so long. That's some nostalgia for me right there. That's excellent. And so your Echo sent this one-on-one challenge, yeah? Did he actually think that this hobgoblin was going to actually... It's not a hobgoblin, it's a bugbear. I keep doing that.
Bugbear. Caller's the one that's correcting.
This goblinoid was actually going to honor that, or did you go into the fight expecting to be piled on?
Oh, we walked in with the expectation that they would never going to play fair, but with the pretense that we thought that they were, as their actions would then become utterly robbed of any integrity and honor, and we could do whatever the hell we needed to.
Sometimes springing the trap is the best way to avoid the trap, or to bypass the trap. I agree. Yes.
He'll say something in Thayan. He'll say a bear that sees the trap cannot be caught in Thayan, and just to test the room to see if anyone understands it.
None of the Eladrin seem to understand.
What he says.
Yes, Del gets it, but none of the Eladrin seem to understand.
It's an old family saying.
Rob.
Yes.
Del has been in a lot of situations similar to this. What is I don't have the fighter capability, but what is the general prowess vibe that I'm getting from these people?
From the hunters?
Like, the show me your stance moment.
Yeah, totally. As they're wandering about, I mean, the only person who's really moving around is
I'm walking around the
Leslie
upper
Nay.
barrier, like I'm not talking with them, so I just want to get kind of a vibe.
You would say that each of them is probably about at the same level as you. You figure that like, if they had some sort of rating for their challenge, that each one would be like, together this is a force to be reckoned with. Your group could easily take one or two of them. All four of them would be a challenge, but possibly doable. It's hard to tell. In game mechanic terms, Eladrin are CR 10 each, and there are four of them.
And the halfling?
And the halfling, you're having a really hard time. Give me an insight check specifically for the halfling, please. Some of the information is gated off behind a pretty high roll here. A 23. The halfling is, and it takes you a second to notice this. The halfling is very specifically not making himself noticeable. And with a 23, I'm going to say that he's kind of hiding his power level, as it were. So, like, you can't tell how powerful he might be or how strong he might be because he's just sitting there, like, drinking his drink. But he definitely looks like he's a little bit nervous about the Eladrin that are kind of surrounding him. And every once in a while, he makes sort of a furtive glance up at one of the several dragon heads that are mounted to the wall.
Do I see anything unusual about this person with true sight?
With true sight, that's
I
right.
see things as they are.
I keep forgetting, and I'm glad that you keep asking because I'm not ever going to remember to volunteer you information.
I'm also curious about the clock thing on the floor, if that's anything with your true sight.
So with true sight, first off, the clock thing on the floor is radiating extreme amounts of transmutation magic, which I don't think you get from true sight, but you get it anyway, no problem. And so this halfling, you look at him, and sort of shimmering around him every once in a while, it doesn't happen all the time, but like there's this shadowy draconic form around him. And you guess that he is A, trying very hard to hide this aspect of his nature, and B, you suspect you are looking at a polymorphed or otherwise shape-shifted copper dragon.
So knowing that the halfling is kind of like furtive glancing and shit like that.
Yeah.
Do I get the vibe that he's here against his will?
No. He's not here against his will, but he's definitely nervous about this particular space and time.
He did say in the conversation earlier that while he was looking to join this group, he also wanted to get out of the hut. All right. I mean, we've got these guys in a good cheer. We're all starting in on our drinks. Charlotte's just going to ask. So, you've been here. You work for the grandmother. You obviously know your way around a little bit. Probably a lot of it compared to most of the people we've been speaking to. Do you know which of these fireplaces leads to the menagerie?
Oh, yeah, that one. And we'll point at the one that... we'll point, which you won't get.
No,
oh yeah,
Swoops can see the gesture.
The one over to the west there. It's the one that's closest to Charlotte currently.
Yeah.
Maven is currently looking at the fireplace to the north. It's nice and warm. It's nice and cozy. There's a spot like with a kettle that can be moved over the flames, and there are various like tea herbs in the area. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just grab that poker that's on the ground there. It's not really a poker. If you just grab it and pull it, it'll open up. But you're not leaving already, are you?
No, I just figured, while we're in the room with people who obviously know what they're doing, might as well just ask them what we want to know.
That menagerie, by the way, is the reason why we don't have any mind flayer heads up on the wall. Yeah, you've got some sort of alliance with the grandmother. They take care of the menagerie, and she doesn't murder them all.
That seems to be the deal she has with a lot of folk around here. They do what she says, and she doesn't kill them.
Yeah.
Is that the deal you all have?
No. She pays us very handsomely for our work. Yes.
Well, that's a nice change of pace.
Yes, we come from nowhere that you would probably have ever been to, but
you'd be surprised.
So I'm gonna have Leslane begin to sort of describe a bit of fairy, like a bit of the Fey realm, as her home, and it's an area that, for most of her existence, was under constant wildfires. this particular area in Fae was a forest that was somehow constantly on fire, and that was just part of the day-to-day life of this particular Eladrin.
Definitely sounds like a bracing sort of place to grow up in.
And what of you, my small friend? I'm sure you must have had adventures. You said you're a wanderer, yes? You're just here admiring the architecture? And Fel will say, "Oh, yes, I came upon the hut quite by accident, I'm afraid. And I've been wandering around and admiring it very much. It's a hell of a piece of magic, I gotta say. But as for adventures, look, I just kind of float from place to place. I don't necessarily, I try not to stir the pot too much. I just have a knack for getting into trouble, if you know what I mean." Ah, yes.
I think we all might know a little bit of that, being in this profession.
I'm afraid I'm
going
much
to
more.
make tea.
I'm much more well suited to avoiding conflict and running away than I am to engaging in the hunt. I'm afraid.
Count all our men parties. There's no shame in playing to your own strengths.
And Leslane does seem a little bit disappointed by this.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Jeff, whatever you just said, I didn't understand a single syllable of it.
One more time, Jeff.
There's no shame into playing to one's strengths. There's no need to apologize for not for a lack of strength.
Yes, of course. Lack of strength. Yes.
Well, and speaking of hunts, the hut has settled. That's how we got in. Are you all off on a trip soon? Getting another trophy for this room?
It's funny, actually. She's kept us here for right now. I'm not sure exactly why. Normally, yeah, by the time we hit a landing, she's probably got at least 1 or 2 targets ready for us. But no, she's got us staying here for right now. I'm not sure why.
Well, you mentioned your other job, aside from going out and hunting, is protecting the grandmother herself, right?
From assassins, yes, of course. I suppose it's not terribly surprising how many people have it out for the grandmother. She's constantly, keeping guard, and once again, she pays us very well. So if someone comes in here trying to attack her, they have to go through us first.
Wealth and power often brings people who wish to take it for themselves.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's what she's into. Like the wealth part. I don't know that Baba Yaga really cares about the gold. Like we care about the gold, but I don't know that Baba Yaga cares about the gold. I don't know. I don't know what she's after, but honestly, I'm not paid to ask questions.
No, you're paid to hunt, and you do it very well.
Again, like gesturing to the many, many varied trophies that are up.
We're on a bit of a hunt ourselves. We were given a list of things to track down. Not targets so much as just, more of a scavenger hunt than like a hunt. But I don't know. Does that sound familiar to you? Is this how the grandmother kind of tests maybe new recruits?
Well, I mean, we approached her about the job, honestly. So she did test us in various ways. It was mostly involving killing a succession of larger and larger creatures to prove that we were able to do what we said that we could do. So she didn't do anything like that for us, but it sounds like the kind of thing she would do. Yeah, I mean, she's always testing everybody. You get the feeling that Baba Yaga doesn't really believe fully that anybody other than her really exists. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm not sure if she really understands that other people are people. You know what I mean?
I do. If you spend enough time in magical academia, you run into those sorts all over the place.
So she'll tell us what to do, and we'll do it. But, like, yeah, the hoops that she had us jump through were mostly just making sure that we were able to kill things efficiently enough for her, and we can! Yes! Yes, we can.
Apparently. Did you all join up as I know Fel is a bit of a possible new recruit, but did the rest of you all?
Oh, I'm not here to join the hunt. No, I'm just here to admire the architecture. and the artwork and the trophies. I'm just a tourist. Please don't bring me back into this.
That's
I'm
fair
walking
enough.
over with tea.
Excellent.
But then, so the four of you all joined at the same time. Yes, you were already a group.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you often look for new members or no?
New members? No. I mean, it's just been the four of us for a while now. We've only had this job for, what, a few years? She'll look over at the two that are playing chess. Yeah, just we haven't been doing this for very long.
And already you've filled this room?
No. Oh, I wish that I could let you believe that, but no. I'm afraid that much of this was here before we were recruited. Many of these trophies predate us. We do switch them out every now and then, so many of them are our work, but no, not all of these.
I start offering tea.
They absolutely...
Tea, dears. I know you're drinking wine, but sometimes a good warming cup can help.
The winter Eladrin, the one who's kind of in the dark cloak and kind of like doing the emo hunched over the chessboard thing, like dribbles a little bit out of a flask out of his cloak into the tea and then begins to drink it.
Of course.
So, if you've only been working for the grandmother for 2 years, who did her hunting before then?
I honestly don't know. I think she had a giant doing this work before us.
The halfling.
Yep.
Tea.
Oh, thank
I
you.
promise you, it might help keep you a little bit.
Thank you. I very much appreciate it.
It's a little spicy, but
Oh, I can
think
handle
it was
spicy.
The best of the batch that I saw over there.
Yeah, he'll take the cup and he'll hold on to it and he'll take a drink.
Calder will in a good-natured like put on a big smile and will tap Del's elbow and will lean in close and pretend like he's telling a joke or a funny joke or a funny observation, and will whisper in Thayan to Del, the halfling's dragon.
I did not catch what you said.
The halfling is a dragon.
The halfling is a dragon. Gotcha.
To Del in Thayan.
Del is going to kind of I guess he'll take a cup of tea from Maven when it comes around.
Yep.
And is going to just
Kind of comes around to you too.
Tea, dears.
Oh, yes, these.
Del is gonna take a cup of tea when it comes around to him, and then we'll broadly gesture at the statuary. With the did you help take any of those down, or was that the grandmother herself?
A few of them, yeah. We got a few of them.
Which ones?
And she'll point to a few of the various ones. That one thought that they could sneak right in, and didn't realize that Baba Yaga is able to see anywhere in here anytime she wants. But she does not point at Charles. As she gives a little bit of a blurb on each one, and oh yeah, that one cried really hard and begged for his life, and Baba Yaga decided to give it, and that's why he's there and not dead. But yeah, when it comes to Charles, that predates this particular group.
Okay.
I'm going to be converting some sorcery points into to restore my full slot.
Yep.
I think Charlotte will try to wind the conversation down a little bit of well, as wonderful as this conversation has been, it's, I think, prudent that we get back to our tasks.
Yes.
Can't keep grandmother waiting too long when she's set you something to do.
Of course.
As I assume you would know.
Oh, we do.
Although, Fel, would you like to accompany us? We're heading a bit deeper towards the menagerie, like I said, and if you haven't been there already, maybe you'd want to admire the artwork there.
We have found the exit at least once.
Yes, I'd love to. I've been many places in this hut at this point, but no, the menagerie I don't believe I've been to just yet. So yeah, I'd love to join you.
Wonderful.
Just as a quick added character clarification, Fel has made indication that they want to get the fuck out of the hut.
Fel has said that he has been wandering around admiring the architecture of the hut. And that, yeah, he does not know how to get out, but, like, that's a goal of his, but he's not, like, desperate to get out right now.
Okay.
Well, what is it? Leslane?
Leslane.
Leslane. Charlotte will stand up and give a perfectly done court curtsy. Leslane, it has been an honor and a delight to hear your stories, and I do hope that we run into each other again at some point.
Hopefully on the same side of the hunting field.
Naturally. And yeah, Charlotte will start moving towards that fireplace and lean down and feel around for that poker.
Leslane will turn around and look over at the chessboard and say, no, you're not being aggressive enough. You have to. And then you'll go ahead and move through. So Charlotte will go ahead and move through. I'll remove you from this particular map. Is there anything anybody else is doing before you make your way into the fireplace and through? You pull the fireplace poker. The whole fireplace shifts about 4 feet to the left, leaving the same sort of doorway with the same sort of black smoky effect that you're used to in between the rooms. Is there anything else anybody is doing before you leave?
Calder will gesture ahead of him to Fel, like, are you coming?
Yeah, Fel will join along.
Del, I wanna grab a glance at their dragon chessboard.
Yeah, it's a very sort of complicated closed position. It's clear that they're coming up on the end of the early game, and not a whole lot of pieces have been taken, so the whole board is a mess right now. Yeah, the whole board is a mess right now. But you do, with a 17 on your dragon chess proficiency, I will say that you do see a like 3 or 4 move combination that could really open the board up in favor of the Autumn Eladrin.
Kibitzing on chess is kind of a shit thing to do. But I will offer to exchange one of their pieces for one of mine.
Like a pawn for a pawn.
Yeah, just like, like let the here's a pawn from a different chess set, same color.
Yeah.
But like it's carved differently in exchange.
Yeah, they'll accept that. It's an interesting thing. It gives them a story to tell later. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So you'll exchange one of your pieces. Now the pieces on their board are illusory, but as it moves towards you, one of the Eladrin is able to, or we'll say that the Winter Eladrin makes a gesture at it, and it becomes a solid piece of what looks like turned wood.
Oh, fun. I hand them in exchange a pawn that is basically a hex-shaped checker.
Mm-hmm.
And when I place it, when I place it down in the place where the pawn was, give it a double tap, and it makes like a fucking like a Star Wars hologram of a pawn.
I love it. That's amazing.
And then I'll follow the rest of the party.
Let's go ahead and take our break now. I know it's early, but we're going to go ahead and take a break really quick while I set up the next room. So friends who are watching live, this is going to be 10 minutes as usual. I don't know what time it is. I'm hoping that like real life current me will put in chat what time we're coming back. Thank you very much for watching so far, and we're gonna be right back with the menagerie. This is gonna be a lot of fun. So, be right back,
Yeah.
friends.